All right, so meanwhile, accusations of more dirty tricks by the Ted Cruz campaign. Rubio says that the Cruz campaign released a photoshopped picture of the Florida senator shaking hands with President Obama. Here it is. This is the one that they're talking about on the left-hand side of your screen, a picture of Rubio and Obama next to what we believe is the original picture. It appears Marco Rubio's head and President Obama's head were superimposed on the two bodies. Rubio telling Megyn Kelly last night that he is not surprised by this tactic.
This was just one incident. You would say, all right, well, it's just one of these things that happen in campaigns. But the problem is that every day now it appears that Senator Cruz's campaign either does or says something that simply isn't true. So this is part of a pattern. It began in Iowa when Ben Carson and the robocall saying he had dropped out of the race. It continued last week when he wasn't telling the truth about my record regarding Planned Parenthood, and so National Right to Life had to come out and call him out on it. It's just an ongoing pattern. And so, look, the important thing is that voters need to know that there's a campaign that's willing to say things, actually make things up.
So Ted Cruz's campaign spokesman, Rick Tyler, joins us now to respond to that. Good morning, Rick. Good to see you this morning. Thanks for being here.
Great to see you.
How do you respond to that, and why run this Photoshop picture?
Well, first of all, Marco Rubio has been lying about his record. He supported in-state tuition for illegal aliens in Florida. He supported cap and trade as Speaker of the House in Florida. He was the chief sponsor of Gang of Eight, supporting legalization and citizenship for illegal aliens, and still supports that. Only yesterday he reversed his position on DACA, which he says now that he would rescind Obama's illegal executive action on illegal immigrants.
These are the things that we do see in these ads, which are, clear. Everybody has seen them. But the question goes to the tactic, the campaign tactic, and why why Photoshop a picture of a moment that didn't exist.
Every picture in a political campaign is photoshopped. If you look at every picture of Ted Cruz on any mailer...
That's the answer?
No, it is.
I'm asking you a very specific question. Look at the picture, and I'm asking you...
No, it is absolutely true.
We know when you sit around in the office and you look at the new ad, and you say, let me just finish my question. Why did you Photoshop this picture? That's my question.
Marco Rubio and Barack Obama have shaken hands. There's plenty of photos of him shaking hands. So are they denying that he shook hands? If they don't like the picture that we picked, send me the picture they like of Marco Rubio shaking hands with Barack Obama, and we'll swap it out. But the point is, only as recently as last week, Barack Obama said he liked Marco Rubio's immigration plan, the Gang of Eight. And so, look, Marco Rubio wants to hide behind his record. Think what he's talking about. He's talking about, by the way, Marco Rubio is right now doing push polls in South Carolina. They go to all our events. They actually put negative flyers about Ted Cruz in the bathroom stalls at events. So look, we don't talk about these things because these tactics are silly, because these are the things they want to talk about. They want to talk about fake Facebook pages. They send a congressman out who was a former prosecutor to make a fool of himself over a fake Facebook page we had nothing to do with. We had nothing to do with, aren't doing any push polls, negative push polls on Marco Rubio.
Here's the subtext of, of a lot of these conversations.
But here's the reason. He doesn't want you to know his record. That's the whole point. He doesn't talk about his record because he doesn't have a record to run on.
We've given him plenty of opportunities to talk about his record. We've given Ted Cruz plenty of opportunities to talk about his record. You're the campaign spokesman and involved in the strategy of the campaign. So, you brought up the Trey Gowdy thing, which you guys say you had nothing to do with, and we take you on your word.
That's right.
The Carson issue that came up in Iowa with the tweets and all of that was a difficult moment, I think it's safe to say, for the campaign, and one that Ted Cruz said he wished hadn't happened. But the problem is that one of the narratives about your candidate is that he's nasty. That's what Donald Trump calls him all the time. So why go down this road? Why not make efforts to show that he is not what some people think he is, rather than going down this road with these kind of tactics?
But look where it's coming from. Donald Trump, who can't get along with the Pope, or anybody else, it seems, who doesn't agree with him, calls Ted Cruz nasty. I think that, we can discredit that on its face. Marco Rubio wants to hide what he believes because he has nothing to run on. So all he has to run on. I hope he didn't tell his donors this is our big plan to win South Carolina, because he's got a third, a fifth, and now he's about to come into third again, according to the poll I just heard from y'all. 3-5-3 is not a winning strategy. They've spent $50 million on television. They have no message. Their candidate doesn't know what to do. They're going to be out of money. They won't have a ground game on March 1st. They have to win South Carolina. And so this is what they resorted to, fear, smear, and lies. That's all they have left. None of these things are true that Marco Rubio talks about. So he's lying about lying. I mean, it's really, really remarkable. It's really actually pathetic for a United States senator.
There's a lot of finger-pointing going on in all directions here, and obviously this is a very tight and testy race that's going on in South Carolina.
We'll see. It'll all end tomorrow.
So we will see. It'll all end tomorrow, and then you'll move on from there. Thank you very much. Good to have
Thanks,
you here
Martha.
this morning, Rick.
Maybe, right?
Yeah.
Hey,